Hi, welcome to 360 Tours, and today we're going to be discussing the panorama settings. Specifically, we're going to be discussing the panorama viewer controls. This is basically all your viewing points, where you want to start your panorama, all the limits you're going to give your customers, and how far they can scroll up, how far they can scroll down to the sides, and the zoom levels on the panoramas. So if you want to see the rest of the panorama settings, you can go to the first part of this video that explain all of this and all of the brand information. Today, we're just going to focus on the panorama viewer configuration. So these options here. All right, so let's get started. So this is a beautiful picture of the Statue of Liberty. And, once the customer comes in or your viewers come in, if you're looking to limit how much they can zoom in and out of the panorama, then you can do that with this control here. So here we're allowing them to zoom in as much as they want. If I go to let me show you guys. So here I can zoom in, really zoom in, go as deep as I want. If I wanted to give them a limit, I don't want them to zoom in a lot. I'm gonna save it. I want to give them a limit. Now I can zoom in and it stops here. I can't zoom in anymore, right? It's at the limit. You can see that here. It's at the limit like before. So for some reason, if you don't want to have them zoom in a lot, you could do that. And now when I go back to the zoom in, they can zoom in as much as they want. So I can zoom in over here, right? Now, the zoom out is the same thing. Let's say with this 70, this is the maximum I can zoom out, right? You can see it from this here. I can't zoom out anymore, but if I come here and I say, allow them to zoom out a lot, I save the viewer, and now, look at this, I can zoom out much more. Okay, so these are just some options you have in case you want to use them. I like to keep the zoom out at 70 and the zoom in as much as they want. The starting zoom is how much you want them to, where you want the position of the lens when the start. So this is the start of the panorama. If I want them sort of to start off from this position a bit more zoomed out, let's say, then I would come here and say, let them zoom out more than 70 and let them start out at 100 zoom. And then this starts off a bit more zoomed out. Now they can see more the Statue of Liberty, right? Whereas before, if we put it back to 70, it was pretty zoomed and they couldn't see the Statue of Liberty here, okay? So this is what this serves as, the starting zoom position of the panorama. Now, this is this vertical starting point and the horizontal starting point. Now this is kind of annoying because it's a beautiful panorama, but the Statue of Liberty is on the right. I ideally want them to start here. I don't want them to start here like the panorama is. So I'm going to grab the vertical starting point and I say, start off maybe 60 degrees, a little to the right. And now the Statue of Liberty is right in the center, but still, from a vertical perspective, ideally, this is the position that I want it to start. So I'm going to come here and say, the starting position, maybe move it up about 20 degrees. And this will be the starting point of the panorama. It's beautiful. The Statue of Liberty is centered, right? So these controls serve as the starting point horizontally and vertically of where you want your panorama to start. Okay. These are vertical and horizontal limits that you put. So here the customer or the viewer can go up and down and sideways as much as he can. There are no limitations. So let's say that I don't want them, I don't want them to see this. It's blurry, it's ugly. So I'm going to give it a limit. I'm going to say, give it a vertical limit and don't let them scroll down much. This is the vertical bottom limit. So now they can't, this is the maximum I can go, maybe give it a bit more. So now I can't go down anymore and I can't really see the blurry part. Okay, and the same thing for the top limit. If you don't want them to go to the top much, then you can put a vertical limit on the top. Okay, let's turn that off. And then we look at the horizontal limit. If you don't want them to, you know, let's say I want them to keep them focused here. I don't want them to left or look right. You know, I want them to zoom within this angle. I don't want them to look back and see these people, for example. Then I can say, you know, give a horizontal limit and start it off at, you know, let's say a horizontal at 55 degrees. You know, now I can't go left. I can go right, but I can't go left. And I'm going to say an endpoint. So this is it gets a bit complicated here because the 0 is actually the 180 here. And the best thing you could do is just do it by trial and error. But if you want to get specific with the degrees, just remember that 180 is 0. And that's how the software works. So now I put a limit, you know, here I can't go right anymore. I can go left. And I stop here. Let me actually put another limit over here. I can save the viewer. Okay, so now this is the limit that I put. I can't go left. I can look within this angle, and I can't move anymore. So this is what this serves. It's just giving a horizontal limit to your panorama. Turn it off. And if you're giving a limit and you just don't want to save it, you just want to preview it, you can click on the preview config here, and it'll preview the panorama instead of saving it. Okay. Now the last part of this is the auto rotate. This is basically, you know, lets you auto rotate the panorama. So if we save here, you'll see that it'll start rotating by itself and auto rotate, and the speed is slow. 2. If you want it to rotate fast, you just go to 5, save, and now it should be rotating faster. Okay, and this is just a delay. If you want it, you know, if you want to delay it, or you want to delay off, or you want it to delay 3 seconds, that's up to you. So let's turn off the auto rotate. The last portion is the fisheye. Okay, so here you can see the fisheye is on. Yes. Fisheye is basically a wide lens. Sorry, it's giving the panorama a very wide lens. So here I can zoom out. I see the buildings here, and notice this part here. If I go in and I say no fisheye and I save, it's a bit of a narrower lens, and now I can't zoom out so much. I can't see these buildings. Remember that I saw them before. That's the maximum I can zoom out. You can see here, I can't zoom out anymore. If you see this, it's at its maximum. And then going back to the fisheye, if I save, then I should be able to zoom out and see all of the buildings here, right? And the fisheye is basically a wider lens that allows me to see a wider lens and a more zoomed out perspective. So that's it for this portion of the panorama viewer configuration. Again, if you wanted more information on the rest of the settings, the brand information, and this part here, please go to part 1 of the video. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.